Good morning, everybody. As I make this video lesson over here on Maui, futures are selling off just a little bit. They're not down too much, but they are rolling over. However, following the session on Monday, we're kind of sitting pretty. Right now, going into Tuesday's session before the orders are triggered, 10% cash, 10% in leveraged hedges, short biased, and then 80% in various long positions. About 100 names total. Oh my God. However, I want to remind everybody, I trade with a very large account. I have very low commissions. And if I didn't take borderline signals, I don't think I'd be long. I haven't loved anything since November, and I don't think I've really loved that much since 2013. Fourth year of just liking things a lot, but there are no perfect signals. Something like ROX. So let's say that ROX's current, see this move today? Let's say that that base in ROX was like 8 weeks long, and then we had this kind of price move, but it was only up 3%. That would be a perfect signal, especially if BOP was max green on the bottom there with the current volume characteristics that this thing is showing with the accumulation distribution. But we just don't get that. So instead, I just take my signals as they occur. You can take them if not. Quality signals. I always recommend 10% of your account capital in each signal. Obey my limits, obey my stops. If you don't like anything, wait till a great setup occurs. Right now we don't have one, but we have some solid setups overall. MCHI is going to be 3% of my account capital as it was in 3 scans. Pocket pivot point signal off the 10-day moving average. Very strong surge in volume and a very strong confirmation surge in BOP. I want to get long using the limit order at 50.42, and then I only have one stop level, 49.71. It moves below 49.71. I'm out of MCHI. I barely risk anything, and I'm expecting a measured move similar to the move from December to March. So we're looking at about a 20% gain for right around a 1.5% risk. I'll take that any day. So we'll see if MCHI plays along. Not a big deal if it doesn't. We'll cut our losses and move on. The best signal overall this evening, though, is this morning is DZZ. DZZ is producing a candle over candle price pattern on huge volume with BOP surging all the way to max green. I want to get long at 551, and then there's only one stop. The low a day on Monday, 540, so it moves below 540, I'm out. Now, why I like this bounce pattern more than a few other bounce patterns that I saw tonight is that DZZ's RSI 14 is curling up out of oversold conditions. So it crossed below the 30 line. It's now curling and moving back above the 30 line, and it's doing so on strong volume. And with support right there, got to take the long position. So DZZ, 2% of my account capital, 551, only one stop at 539. And then the quality, speaking of quality, boom, boom, back-to-back signals, FBNC. Very rare, not used to seeing this. I hope this is a good omen. The only problem is, notice BOP on the bottom. Notice how it's not surging to max green. Notice how volume isn't a huge spike on Friday or Thursday and wasn't a huge spike on Monday. Still well above average volume. BOP increased from the session before, and while it's not as explosive as it was back here November, December, still crystal clear with 2 crystal clear stop levels in place. First stop level, 27.95, and then this one is off on Telechart. It says 27.61, but I'm pretty sure it's 27.61. So my final stop is 27.61, a move below that, but a move below 27.95, I'll be out a half on the ad signal and the original position. So going to go long FBNC. 0.5%. It's a semi-can slim quality stock, not confirmed in any other scan but my tertiary scan. Limit order at 29, stop at 27.95 and 27.61. Really like this pattern, but man, if we would have had max green BOP on Thursday and today with that volume and price move, I would have loved it and would say, let's increase the capital allocation, but we can't. Then there's SHI. Now that's the BOP and volume I'm looking for. Boom on Thursday, boom on Monday, with pocket pivot point signals each day. However, this pattern isn't as nice. As you can see here, the 20 and 10-day moving average is extended from the intraday price range on Monday, so it's technically extended, but the engulfing bullish candle pattern over the hammer candle pattern is really good. We have one clear very first cut loss level, 57.53. If I get long using a limit order of 59.22, that's perfect. So 57.53, I'll be out of half the position, and then for right now, I got it going down to 55.51. Moves below that, I'll be out of all of it. But that's an emergency stop. If it gets below 57.53, if it's pulling back on low volume and max green bop or even green bop, I'll give it all the way back to 551. But if it goes below 57.53, I'm out half, and then whenever the new low is, that'll probably become the final cut loss. So those are the quality names. Now for the speculative names, I got some 3 juicy setups, but you know, it might be too early and the market's under neutral conditions, so they might not work, but it's pretty juicy overall. APOP, as you can see right here, is starting to coil. It's at its 10 and 20-day moving average. You can see the max green bop redeveloping after it went yellow for a bit, started to rise higher. Now it's back to max green. You can see volume dry up as it bases out here. I'm hoping with this candle over candle price bar that we're at the end of this and that an explosive move is coming. I do not want to pay up for it though, so I'm going to get long at 832. If I see APOP gapping up in the morning above 835, I'll move it up to 835. But if it's not gapping above 835 in the morning, 832 is the limit. First stop is 8 right here. Final stop right now, 764. But if it loses its max green bop or green bop at any moment before closing below 764, the stops will be moved up, and I'll hopefully be out of it before that. But APOP, it was in my IPO scan or new issue scan, and it was also in my max green bop for 5-day scan. So 2%, half it, 1% basically, because there's no real signal here. It wasn't in my tertiary scan, so it wasn't confirmed in a third scan, so it has to be halved. Then there's PSIX, same similar situation as APOP, deja vu. Pulling back, nice tight trading pattern. We got a candle over candle price bar. Volume has been contracting, so hopefully this is rounding out and bottoming out just like APOP. Max green bop at the bottom. This was in my max green bop scan, but in no other scans. I want to get long using a limit at 914. My first stop is 861, and my final stop for now is 766, but the exact same situation exists in this stock as it does for APOP. And then the final speculative long position, a lot of long positions. Like I said, pick your favorite one out of the MCHI or DZZ. Take DZZ, 10% of your account capital, obey my limit, obey my stops. PCTI, APOP, PSIX, pick one of those 3. I would pick APOP and obey my stops and limit, and I wouldn't put more than, with this trade, I mean, especially 2% of my account capital, but no more than 5% if you're really looking for home runs. And maybe your stops are tighter. Maybe your stops initially is at 830, then 825, then 8, whatever, however you want to do it. Just telling you how I'm doing it. So PCTI is the final one. I want to get long using a limit order at the close, 698. First stop is going to be 676 this low a day, and for right now, 621 is the current final stop. But once again, it breaks below here, loses its green bop, heavier volume. I'll be out before this final stop ever comes into play. But same similar situation. Big volume surge, huge volume surge, in fact, actually the biggest one in this chart right here. And bop, after losing max green on Thursday, has gained it back on Monday. Very nice, but once again extended from its 20-day moving average, so it was in my bop scan, so it has to be halved, so it's only going to be 0.5% of my account capital. The same with PSIX. Just want to show you that really quick. See how the price is extended from the 20-day moving average. PSIX, notice how it's extended from the 20-day moving average. APOP, notice how it's right on there, but remember, not confirmed in a tertiary scan. PSIX neither. PCTI was, but once again, only in one scan. My bop for 20 days, green bop scan. And a price volume bop scan. Did it make both of those? I think I have messed up over here. So technically it should, no, I did. So technically it's supposed to be 20-day green bop scan. That would be 1%. 1% for being the price volume bop scan, half it for being extended 1%. But this stock is really extended, and that's the reason why it's not just extended from the 20-day moving average, it's really extended from the 20-day moving average, and it's very extended from the 50-day moving average, and extremely extended from the 200-day moving average. That was the reason why it's 0.5%. No notes in front of me, everyone. All right, great luck out there today. We'll see if the market decides to follow through on Monday's bounce attempt. My model is still under a neutral condition. I still don't have a whole lot of faith that we're going to resolve higher, but every time we look like we're about to break down, we always get a kick save. We'll see if this continues. Aloha.